Suns, your Blazers did it again tonight. They took out the Pacers 112-89. It was the back of their defense that got the job done. Everything was just coming up Blazer, right? You know, everything's coming up Millhouse. No, everything was coming up Blazers in this one. It was an absolutely incredible performance from the Trailblazers as they go and get their 5th win in a row, 9 out of their last 10. It was incredible. And as Errol Weldon chimed in, who's always in the YouTube chat, he found me in media row. He just comes up, fist ready for a fist bump, and he just goes, the 5th quarter's going to be lit tonight. Fist bumps and walks out because let me tell you what, man, who expected this? Who expected the Blazers to just continue this absolutely incredible hot play that they got going on right now? I mean, I don't know if I did. It's pretty wild. It's absolutely wild. I told you guys going into this homestand, right? After okay, they won a game, but don't worry because they don't play another team that's outside of the playoffs looking in until February 22nd when they play the Charlotte Hornets. They're going to get their losses. Look at this gauntlet they have this homestand. 2 games against the Suns, a game against the Bucks, the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Pacers who are good. They're taking care of business, man. The Oklahoma City Thunder game, it was a 10-point game. Yes, they lost, but boy, howdy did they play good. They played incredible. I'll tell you what, the defense tonight, it was all over the place. Toumani Camara was doing everything he needed to do. Denny was good in spurts. He had a bad offensive game, but he was still good where he needed to be. Scoot and Shea were absolutely incredible after playing limited minutes the other night. Last night, in fact, 24 hours ago, right? And they came into this one and they were huge. Everybody came up big in this one. In fact, they held Tyrese Halliburton, who we all know how good he is. They held him to a big, fat duck logo, a.k.a. 0. Not very often Tyrese Halliburton scores 0. And now the Blazers, again, they've won 9 of 10. Absolutely incredible. If you want to join in on the chat, you can grab your telephone. 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You can also go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, join the chat there. And this game, I thought, quite honestly, again, we talk about defense. That was a big reason. But I also thought the start of the game was crucial. The Blazers got out to a quick 7-0 start. And until the 4th quarter, when they really took over, when kind of the changing point was when they missed a shot and Scoot Henderson came up with a massive offensive rebound, kicks it back out to Ant. Ant resets the entire offense, goes in, gets a little floater. They get 2 points. And that was kind of like the wind came out of the sails of the Pacers, right? And so that was a huge play right there where the wheels kind of fell off for the Pacers and the Blazers blew past them. But to that point, that 7-0 run at the beginning of the game felt huge because that was roughly the gap that the Blazers had most of the game. They had times where they were up 10, and then they had times they were down 4 or 5, but that little gap was absolutely huge the entire way. The Pacers were able to come back from that 7-0 start. It was 14-2 when Blazers called timeout with 6:22 left in the quarter. Blazers had the lead there, and the Blazers ended the first quarter up 27-18. Grant and Scoot each scored 7 points in that first quarter, which was great to see Scoot coming off the bench and just getting offense flowing right out the gate. Now, in the second quarter, the Pacers opened up with a quick 8-4 advantage, but the Blazers, they kept answering. They led 45-38 at halftime. That 38-point half for the Pacers, that is the second lowest scoring first half for a Blazers opponent all season. Number 1 was the second game of the season against the New Orleans Pelicans when Nola scored just 37 points in the first half. That shows you what kind of performance this was. And we talked about it pregame that the Blazers were going to have to absolutely be on their best game, force turnovers against a team that doesn't turn the ball over a lot. They're very, very good with the ball and do their best to disrupt that offense because they're a top 10 offense. So when you take a top 10 offense in the Pacers and hold them to 38 points in the first half, you know that you're in for a good game and your defense is playing. And again, when you're both teams coming off a back-to-back, that's why I thought it was crucial to get out going fast. I thought you saw both teams trying to get that early lead because it was up and down for a little bit. I wrote it in my notes. Pace was fast, back and forth, nonstop, bucket. And then finally, I think the Pacers just ran out of gas a little bit. Now, overall, Again, you had the 45-38 lead at halftime. Simons had 12 points in the first half. Scoot had 10 points, 6 rebounds. Ayton had 4 points, but he did have 8 rebounds and 4 fouls. So in the second half, Robert Williams got the start, and he ended up playing just fine. And then Ayton comes back in without worrying too much. And boy, howdy, this was when the game changed. It was no longer whose offense was better. It was the absolute massive dunk fest. I tweeted out at one point, lob, 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 lob. Not blob, lob, because it was nonstop alley-oop after alley-oop, dunk after dunk. Shea, he gets a massive dunk, then a play or two later gets a steal, gets a breakaway, gets another jam. DA got a steal and a solo fast break dunk, and the Blazers led 78-66 after 3. The Pacers, a quick 10-4 start to the fourth quarter, but then the Blazers came storming back. Scoot makes a 3. It's 89-76 Portland. Indy calls time, and then again, it was dunk after dunk, oop after oop. Ant hit Tumani. Massive alley-oop, and at that point, it was 103-83. It was all over for the Indiana Pacers. Looking at the box score, Ben Mathurin had 12 points. Pascal Siakam had 16 points. 9 points from Miles Turner, 17 points from Andrew Nebhard. And as we mentioned earlier, Tyrese Halliburton, 0 points. He did get 6 assists, so he found a way to contribute, but man, he was not nearly aggressive enough. 0 for 3 on the night, and I think a large part of that was just Tumani Kamara playing absolutely incredible defense on him, and basically every other Pacer he ended up getting switched on to. But anytime you hold Tyrese Halliburton scoreless, you're going to put yourself in a good spot. We've talked about this before. There is not a single team in the NBA who averages less than 100 points. Not a single one. And the Pacers are a top 10 scoring team of all those teams that average 100 points. So hold them to 89. That is a defensive performance to hang your hat on. On the Blazers side of things, Jeremy Grant had 20 points. Tumani Kamara had 13 points, 7 rebounds. 8 points from DeAndre Ayton, 9 rebounds, 2 steals, and a block shot. And again, he didn't have a ton of points. It wasn't the 20-20 game that he had just last night. Foul trouble attributed to that. But I thought especially in the second half when he came in and the foul trouble was there, it was rearing its ugly little head, right? He had to kind of play timid. He didn't play timid. He played smart, and that allowed him to finish out the game. Anthony Simons, 22 points, and it felt like of the 8 of 16 he shot, all 8 shots were big shots. Like none of them were quiet shots. They came when the team needed them, whether it was a deep 3 or the floater or what have you. Scoot Henderson and Shaedon Sharpe off the bench each had 17. And then, of course, Robert Williams getting the run tonight instead of Donovan Clingan. He had 4 points, but he did have 11 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 blocked shots. And I do know some people were a little upset, if you will. How come Donovan Clingan's not playing? Blah, blah. Keep in mind, that's how this team has run this offense, this lineup, all year long. I mean, whether they're both healthy or not, Clingan hasn't played both games of a back-to-back. Neither has Robert Williams. If Robert Williams were not healthy today, Donovan would have still sat, and you probably would have saw the Jabari Walker small ball lineup. If you want to join in on the conversation, 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. And we'll head out now to Nate in Portland. Nate, welcome into the fifth quarter. What do you got for us tonight?
Oh, man, the energy was back in the stadium, although we could have some more fans. I brought my 8-year-old son. He got a ball signed by Scoot at the end of the game, watching him hit the threes, and he's got something to tell you.
What's that?
My favorite was the alley-oop. And it was a good night. Let's go Blazers!
Oh, I love it. I love it.
It was awesome. It was great to be out, getting the kids back in the game. Glad to see the Blazers are winning.
Well, Nate, man, thank you so much for the call. And I love that you brought your son with you, and I'm glad you let him shout out a little bit, man. That's phenomenal. The alley-oops were great, and yeah, let's go Blazers. Get the kids going. Get that fandom young, right? I absolutely love it, Nate. That's so awesome. I said this after the game the other day because there was a kid in front of Media Row who was just absolutely going crazy all game long. Doesn't matter what was going on, win or lose, he was jumping up, he was happy. And watching the kids get excited for these games is something special, especially when you get to go with your kid and your family. So shout out to you, Nate. That's absolutely awesome. And a Scoot signed basketball? Man, I'm jealous. I'm jealous. That's a memory that's going to live a lifetime. That's absolutely awesome. All right, let's head out to Tim in Milwaukee. Tim, welcome into the fifth quarter. What do you got for us?
As always, thanks for taking my call. First of all, shout out to whoever is curating the halftime entertainment, especially tonight. I didn't know that autistic people could dance like that. Chris, what coaching or team behavior would you consider indicative of a trade or personnel shakeup, especially as approaching this close to the timeline? And also, what do you expect in terms of teams adjusting to the Trailblazers and what that could look like in the second half of the off season, or in the second half of the season? And then if you have time, I have a question about Taylor Swift after you answer those.
Well, let me answer your two questions there, and then I'll answer T Swift for you. But here's the thing: what's indicative of a player being traded? I don't necessarily know, man, because I thought I knew this league, and then Luka Doncic got traded, and everything I knew about it has been flipped upside down. Right? Like, I don't know. I say right now, whether any of these guys get traded or not, the vibes are good, and that's one thing that I love about this team. No one is pouting or moping like they're the guy who's on the outs. I think if someone were to get traded at this point, they might even be a little upset because the vibes are great in that locker room, which is good. So I don't know if there's a vibe that gives it away so much, Tim, especially, like I said, with the way the things went down with Luka. My goodness, I have no idea how to read anything anymore. I have to go back to journalism school. On your second question, how will teams adjust to the Blazers? I think that they didn't expect this early on from the Blazers. They thought they could bully them, and I think for a large part of the season, teams were able to bully the Blazers because Chumani Kamara felt like he was the only one showing up defensively. But everything's kind of clicked lately. Everything has kind of come together, and it feels like everybody is playing that Chumani Kamara bully ball. So I think the adjustments teams have to make is they have to come in and be ready to play absolute physical basketball, kind of like you have to play against Oklahoma City when you match up with them, even though Oklahoma City is better than Portland in that because they're so good everywhere and on both sides of the ball. But what I do love, Tim, is the fact that I think for the first time in a long time, the Blazers have a true identity of how they play, right? I think early on we was like, okay, they're going to play hard, they're going to hustle, they're going to do this. Now they're playing physical. They're going to hit you in the mouth. They're not going to back down. And I do think Chumani Kamara is a huge part of that. So that's how I would answer that question. But now to the real hard-hitting stuff. You want to ask me about Taylor Swift? What do you got to ask me, man?
Listen, I'm more of a Billie Eilish person myself, but if Taylor Swift were not famous, if you just saw her at like a old spaghetti factory or whatever, and she weren't famous, first of all, would you approach her? And if so, what would you say?
If so, what would I say? No, man, I get nervous. I don't approach people I know half the time because I don't want to ruin their day. I'm also happily married, so I don't know what to do. If we were hitting, like if you're talking about would you approach someone if you were single, I wouldn't know what to do. I'd have to hit one of those dating apps, so it's Bumble or something like that. My wife and I were talking about this, how we'd be screwed. I don't even know. Do you swipe left or swipe right if you like someone and you want to date them? But you know, I don't know. It's just such a loaded question. I was like, hey, you look a lot like Taylor Swift. No, I can't do that because she's not famous. So I don't know if I would approach her, and I definitely don't know what I would say. That's a fair question, but I don't know. I don't know.
I'll tell her, try the Mazzetra.
Are you gonna have that? Are you gonna have the bread there? I see you haven't had that whole bread. Think I could take that? Thank you. Bye. Like I don't know. He's more of a Billie Eilish person. Taylor Swift's growing on me. She's got some good tunes. She's got some good tunes, but I got Shacker over here. We're not the Taylor Swift crowd. We are the Metallica and Megadeth, and you played the Sword earlier. We're that crowd, man. That's the crowd we're into. All right, let's head out to Drew in Portland. Drew, welcome into the fifth quarter. You got Taylor Swift questions or basketball questions? These are things I need to know.
Well, I'll tell you this much about Taylor Swift, man. It feels good when a woman roots for her man to win. You know, like we need to remember that. So thank goodness for Taylor for being there for her man, even if it's all staged and scripted or whatever. But still, listen, there's a fan in front of me tonight who turned around in the second half, and he said, I've been going to these games for 50 years, 52 years. It's like, why aren't there more people in this arena? Because this team is really fun to watch. And so I'm just putting out this to, if you are in the Portland area, go on the tickets and buy some and go fill up this arena for this Blazers team because they deserve it. The last 48 hours has been the best basketball I've seen in Moda Center in 5 years, 3 years, 4, whatever. I mean, the team just looks really good. There was a play in the fourth quarter that I thought turned the game around was when Henderson, like a linebacker, grabbed a rebound on a missed shot when it was going out of bounds. I mean, the guy he just turned into Mr. Fantastic for a second. He just reached out with that arm and grabbed the ball and got the play back into possession. And I think that led to a Jeremy Grant 3 or some possession that gave us a 9 to 11 point cushion on these guys. And after that, it was just an avalanche of alley-oop dunks. So this is just really special.
Well, Drew, thank you for the call, and I got a couple things to address here. First off, you're absolutely right. You are absolutely right with that last point you made there about Scoot, because I remember that play vividly, because the way the ball was going into the corner, it's the type of play where so many players just give up on it and let it go out of bounds. And he saw it, and he's hustled, and he got it there and threw it back in. I believe Jeremy Grant kind of tipped it back out to Ant over the Pacer defense, and it's one of those hustle plays, because then he also had the offensive rebound too that he got back out to Ant, where Ant hit the floater that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak. So, man, Scoot was making the hustle plays down the stretch, and that goes back to Tim's question, and who was our first caller? I'm blanking. Oh my gosh! But all of our callers, the question about how does this team play and how do you defend them? It's like, dude, they're hustling. They're making these tough plays, man. And so what Scoot did was a microcosm of how this team's playing right now. It's absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. So, and now to your other point about getting in the stadium, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You need to get down here. I know a lot of season ticket holders, and one thing they love right now is just getting a chance to watch these young guys develop. And the fact that they've won 9 of 10 and most of them been these home games, it's phenomenal. The vibes are going great, right? And when you say someone turned around to you and say, we need to get more people in here because this team is so fun, what makes that so powerful and so good to hear is because all you got to do is go back earlier in the year to the Memphis game where I hosted the fifth quarter after that demoralizing loss, mentioning how it was the very first time in my entire time covering this team, and I've been doing it for 10 years now, right, where I watched people walk out of the arena saying, this is embarrassing. I'm embarrassed to be a Blazer fan right now. So to go from this is embarrassing, I'm embarrassed to be a Blazer fan, to, man, we need to find ways to get more people in this arena because this team is so fun to watch. Everybody deserves credit. The players deserve credit. Coach deserves credit. Everybody deserves credit. So that's a good question. You're absolutely right. Get out there, get on the tickets. If you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You can also go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, and put your questions there. Where Jake says, bring Chad tonight. Chad's over, I'm in section 111. He's over there in section 113. Yesterday was enough. He can only deal with me so much. Then he gets tired of me. Well, if he comes over here, though, I'll put a mic on him. And then Mark had a question. I told him I'd answer, so let's get to it. He says, Chris, I have a question. I've always wondered why Nurk never took a step in player evolution. Was it skill set, physical ability, effort, desire? I love Nurk, and I'm just curious. Here's the thing. Maybe this is the cop-out answer. I think it's the real answer. I always thought Nurk was really good in Portland, right? And he was everything they needed. Nurk fever was a thing. He was doing everything they needed him to do. And unfortunately, everything about his upward trajectory changed the minute he broke his leg. It was a super, super long recovery. I mean, he comes in, tries to play, probably rushed it back just a little bit too early, if we're being completely honest, right? And then ever since then, it's been the ups and the downs. And for a guy who can be, have that mental drain, right, where you got to be engaged and everything, being away from the game for that long while you're healing can wear on you, right? And not only that, there's the mental part of it that takes a minute to come back as well. Like, do you jump up with the same ferocity? Is this always in the back of your head? I'm going to land on my leg wrong and it's going to snap again. Like I remember when Myers Leonard was here and he got his shoulder dislocated. And I remember that I have that same issue where I've dislocated mine and tore my labrum. And it's like, you get to a point where like the shoulder heals, but when you go up and you get a rebound, you're almost afraid to use that one hurt arm, right? I would rebound with one T-Rex arm and one regular arm, because if the arm was above me, I was afraid I was going to hit it backwards and re-injure it the same way. And it took me years and years and years to get over that. Granted, I was just, a 24-hour fitness rec center legend, an NBA player, right? But still, it took a lot of time to get over that injury, man. So I think that was honestly the thing that hurt Nurk, was that injury. Because up until that point, he was playing incredible. And then ever since then, he came back. It wasn't the same. He goes to Phoenix. It wasn't the same. I truly, truly think that was the problem. Have I heard if Nurk is tough to coach? I don't think he's tough to coach. I think he's just a player that he can be sensitive, man. He needs a pat on the back now and then. And I don't mean that negatively, man. A lot of people do. I like a pat on the back, right? You don't like to be told negative things all the time. When people tell you're doing a good job and you feel welcome and you feel part of the team, whether that's on a basketball team or your coworkers, whatever job you do, like, dude, if Shacker and I and Chad and I didn't get along, like, hosting the fifth quarter would get miserable. Right? So you have to get along, and you have to feel appreciated with the work that you're doing. So I think that had more to do with it than Nurk being hard to coach. I honestly do. All right, if you have any other questions, 503-248-0620 is that telephone number. And, of course, YouTube.com. You get over there and get on the chat. You're going to see a little screen in a minute because we're going to take a little break on radio, but that doesn't mean we're going anywhere. Hold tight. We'll be right back. This is the fifth quarter presentation.
Back in 3.5.
Thank you. All right. We're not. There we go. Fifth quarter. All right, chat. We got a 3-minute radio break, so I can come in and talk to you. And Mark, I appreciate the question. I hope that answers it for you. I really do. I'm not even trying to make an excuse. I really think that injury just derailed him mentally. I think for a player who needs to be locked in mentally and get that derailment, that's a big one. That's a big one. I think that there's just so much to it, man, that plays into that. And it sucks because I really, really liked Yusuf Nurkic in his time in Portland. I really did. Nurk fever was awesome. Ryan says now it's Burke fever, which I'll take. That's great. I changed the sign in the studio, right? Burke fever. But, man, I think most Blazer fans, you'll remember what it was like when we all had Nurk fever, right? Nurk fever was amazing. Nurk fever was amazing. What else we got? Timmy, the diss app State on the pregame show was golden. Yeah, I do things for you every once in a while. You asked me to throw a diss in there, and I did, but I veiled it, so nobody except you and Rosengrat knew it was a diss. That's what happens when we play college football 25 together, and we all think we're, Nick Saban in real life because we can win video game championships.
Require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if
we turn that ad off.
Turn it off.
Well, just so I don't. Doesn't go to YouTube.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. Did you know that?
There you go. I mean, you can bring. I got the clock, and you can bring it back up when we're there, but we won't get copyrighted for it. But
But we don't want commercials.
Oh man. No, it's the thing. If we're playing ads on radio, we're getting paid for them. If we're gonna put them on YouTube, we gotta make sure they're giving us the extra money, right? That's how that works.
It's the same as music because there's like talent who makes these ads and then they'll sue us. Say I didn't agree for it to be on YouTube.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
That happened to me at a station 20 years ago.
Getting the behind the scenes action over there. Michael Shacker working his tail off. There's the court for you guys wondering where we're at right now. Oh man, we're having fun. Like Mark says, yeah, he seemed to have really arrived before that leg injury. Nurk was something else. He was good. What else we got in the chat? You guys got any other questions for me? I saw a few earlier ones. Oh man. What else? Watch Durant get traded to Golden State. They're going to have to work with that. I think the only way you're going to be able to do that, I don't know if they can aggregate Schroeder since he was just traded earlier. I don't know what the timetable on that, because there's a timetable where they can be traded, but they have to be one for one, basically. So they may have to trade Schroeder first to free up the cap space, and then there's some ways they could do it. It would mostly involve Wiggins. I'm thinking like a GP2, just because money-wise, that's getting you closer. There's a way to get Durant, but boy, it would take a lot of work. It would take a lot of work. But then you can get Miami in there. Can you get Jimmy Butler to Phoenix, KD to Golden State? I don't know. I really hope some more moves happen, though. Doesn't even have to involve Blazers. I just want something to talk about. But YouTube, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. I'm going to pause my audio. Coming back on radio. If you want to join the conversation with me tonight, 503-248-0620 is that telephone number. And, of course, youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio. That's another great way. And Chris J. Burkhardt is the name on social. And on the chat, Timmy had a good point, Shacker. He's like, if you would have bet preseason that Luka would be traded and Portland would win 9 out of 10 games at some point, imagine how much that parlay would have paid out. Oh, my goodness. I'll tell you this. With the way the Blazers were told we were retooling, right, and all that, if you approached me preseason and said, what do you think happens first? The Blazers win 9 out of 10 games and almost upset the Thunder in that 10-game stretch, or Luka gets traded, I'd probably say it's probably more likely that Luka gets traded. But there's the parlay. But like that's how kind of crazy both of these are, because I don't think anyone expected this. I mean, they get a 3-game win streak, and you're like, oh, my gosh, it's the first 3-game win streak since, like, 2 seasons ago. And, a 4-game win, and 5 now. Like, this is a great run of basketball that you just have to absolutely enjoy. I absolutely enjoy. Air Weldon says, I'm still on the 35-win trade. I said it before the season on Chad and Dwight's show. That's why, see, but no one can believe you. No one believes you. I said they were going to win exactly 9 out of 10 games at the start of February. I said it on Chad and Dwight's show last year. You guys just weren't listening. That's why you got to do what Chad does. You got to send a tweet and then pin it like he did. Everyone roasted him. Also, I'm joking, Air Weldon. I absolutely believe you. I absolutely believe you. But no, like, seriously, though, joking aside, like, do you think the Blazers will win 9 out of 10 games at any point this season? No, I don't. That's what I would have said preseason. But here we are, man. This is why I've said you just got to ride the wave. I know people want, oh, but what about Cooper Flagg? What about this team? 9 out of 10 is hard to do for anybody. Anybody. And this is a great run. This is a great run. So, man. It's not a lot you can say. It's amazing. It's wonderful. Got to enjoy it. I'm enjoying it. Everything's more fun when the team's winning, right? But I think the thing right now that I love the most, guys, and talking to you, the fans here in the arena and in the chats and on social, the thing I like the most is not the 9 out of 10 wins. It's the way they played in those 10 games. bringing it defensively, playing as a unit, playing for each other. I mean, Shaden Sharp even said it tonight, about the alley-oops. He's like, yeah, it's really fun to dunk, but it's fun to throw them too. It's fun to involve your teammates and watch everyone play for one another. And you've been hearing over the last few weeks, communication and accountability and all these things. The team has matured to this point where they can do that. Like I saw earlier in the game where they get to a free throw line, defensive play kind of broke down, and DeAndre Ayton goes over, instantly talks to Tamani Kamara. Tamani Kamara talks to him. They start pointing. They slap hands like, yep, we're good. We're back on the same page. And as they're doing that, Denny comes over and he's talking. So they're, hey, we need to do, and you can tell that they're communicating. It's not five guys playing individual ball and they just happen to go in the same direction. It's five guys working as one, man. That's how you get the job done, and that's what they're doing right now. They're making teams work, and as Chauncey has said multiple times, he wants this team to be the team that nobody wants to play. And right now they're playing like it. Because think about this. Like, not only did they beat the Suns, like the second game was closer, and you would expect that, but they just walloped them in that first game. And then not only did they beat the Pacers tonight, they ended up walloping them. They ran away with it at the end. And we're talking about a Pacers team that is, as hot as the Blazers have been. They've been just as hot, but in the other conference. And so the Blazers aren't winning all these games over Washington and Utah, right? Yes, in this stretch there was a win over Charlotte. But they beat, in this stretch, right? Right before they went on the road, they beat the Bulls. The Bulls are currently in the play-in, so let's just say playoff team, right? If you're in the play-in, you're a playoff team as of right now, right? So they beat the Bulls, currently a playoff team in the East. They beat Orlando, currently a playoff team in the East. They beat Charlotte, who's on the outside looking in. They went toe-to-toe with Oklahoma City, who's the best team in the NBA right now. They beat the Bucks, who are currently a playoff team in the East. They beat the Suns twice, who are currently a playoff team in the West, and they beat the Pacers, who are currently a playoff team in the East. So this wasn't an easy stretch of 10 games either. And they're just taking care of business, man. And that's what I like. Again, it's how they're playing. The wins are great too, but how they're playing is great. And again, this Pacer team, up until tonight, they had won 4 of their last 5. Right? That's pretty good. Like, that's just what the Blazers did. They've won 6 of their last 7. I mean, and then you go back, like, this is their last stretch of game. They've had 4 wins, a loss, 2 wins, a loss, and then 6 wins in a row. I mean, they're winning ball games, man. They are a hot team, and Portland took them to task tonight. Again, I've said this a few times the last few days, but file that under you love to see it. Absolutely love to see it. What can you say? The team is playing so good. If they would have lost tonight, I would have been okay with it because they played great, especially for a second night of a back-to-back. All right, let's head out to Victor in Turkey. Victor, welcome into the 5th quarter. What do you got tonight?
Wow, man, I'm speechless, man. There's so much to say that I don't think I have time to say all of it. You said most of it. Anyway, thanks for the 3 o'clock today earlier. You mentioned about my name and Mana. Let's start with a good Mana that you mentioned 3 o'clock this afternoon. And the energy is all over the place, my friend, and is kind of a bubbling, it's kind of the fans, everybody. I think I'm super energetic. I don't know I can't say enough about myself because I couldn't believe that the way the Blazers, as you said, they perform and they don't back down. And also, about Chris, about this game, there are so many things to stand out. You mentioned most of it about this very tough team, Pacers. They just imagine 60 rebounds, 14 3-pointer, 0 points for Haliburton, 0 point that I don't think he ever forget that in his life, in his whole life. 0 pointer for the best player, one of the best players in the NBA. So what I'm saying is I'm just ecstatic. As I said, I couldn't, when I was going to call you, I said that maybe I can't mention what it is. But, Chris, I want to ask you something, we always in NBA, we refer to a statistic. That means if somebody in playoff 3-0 in a 4 game. They never happened like a team coming from 3-0 win the championship, and everybody knows about it. That never happened. But what I'm saying right now, the way Blazers playing, believe me, the only way, that's my belief, is not, I'm not saying your belief, but the way they are playing, first of all, they can beat any team. Number 2, if their mentality, if they say, well, we are not going to lose any game. We're going to win another 9 games. They already won 9 games. They say, okay, we're going to go another 9 games and see what happens. I think they are able to do it, but if they mentality, they kind of back and say, well, we're going to lose a couple of, you know what I'm saying? So, well, we're going to drop 2 games, and they're going to kind of take off their foot off the gas, so to speak. That can happen, or maybe the fatigue. But the way they're playing, I think, they are able to win another 4 games, maybe not 9, but another 4 games, and everybody's afraid of them, and all of that. But I think nobody can do 9 out of 10. I don't know about OKC, but right now, no.
Well, we'll see what happens here, Victor, and appreciate your call. But I want to point out something real quick for you, okay? You talked about Tyrese Halliburton and holding him to 0 points. Well, I looked this up real quick. I can tell you that tonight's game, holding him to 0 points, only the 4th time in his entire career he has been held scoreless. It's pretty impressive for a guy who goes out there and can score with the best of them. A career 17-point-per-game scorer. He's been on fire in his time in Indianapolis. And again, the reason I mentioned the mana this morning, the energy you brought up, is because of how important it was. I truly think that you were onto something when you said that, man, because when you talk about the losses and the way they played earlier, the energy was bad. And people can feed off bad energy just like they can feed off good energy, right? And the energy right now is good. It's the kind of energy you want around you. Everybody's playing. Like Coach Billups said in the presser how DeAndre Ayton had 4 fouls at halftime. And keep in mind, DeAndre Ayton is a guy who earlier in the season he was taken out of the game because Coach didn't like his spirit, right? Didn't like what he was doing on the floor. But tonight he gets 4 fouls early. Coach goes to him at halftime and says, hey, I'm going to start Rob in the second half so that you're not out there timid or anything, because we really want to get out going in the half, and we don't want you to go pick up the foul or play any different. And his reaction was, sounds good to me, Coach. Rob's ready for it. Let's go get this, right? And that speaks to the type of player that he is right now, the teammate he's being. And again, all that comes with the positive mana. The energy, man. The energy is absolutely important. If you want to jump in on the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. And, of course, youtube.com. Type in Rip City Radio to get in on the combo. But we're going to take a quick little break here. All right. We'll talk to YouTube here for a second. We got about 2.5 minutes. We're back on radio. Timmy says, how does he pay for these insanely long-distance out-of-country calls? It's because Victor in Turkey is not really in Turkey. Victor is from Turkey, and a long time ago when he called, it was like he just said Victor in Turkey, and now he's just always been Victor in Turkey. But Victor in Turkey is not actually in Turkey. If he were and was paying for these long-distance calls, that'd be awesome. But we do know that the fifth quarter is worldwide. We've had people jump in on the chat and say that they're watching live from Australia before, which is pretty cool. I enjoy that. But that's why. Mark says it's doing 2 hands in a really, really long string. What you guys don't know, Victor actually records his phone calls and then emails them to us, and Shacker plays them. I just show off my acting chops, and we interact quite well. That's all that is. Can you imagine, though? That'd be great, wouldn't it? They are great. But, yeah, what else you got? What else you got? Jump in on the combo here. Get your chats. 503-248-0620, youtube.com. I'm doing good. Doing good. Say our names and wins will appear. We believe in Rip City. I like that. I like that. I always thought he was calling from Turkey. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Don't let me break the illusion. At least, I mean, maybe I've just assumed that he's local because that'd be crazy. But I'm going to ask him next time. Like, you living in Portland? Or are you really calling from Turkey? Where are you at? He's like, dude, I'm in Turkey right now. I just woke up. I set my alarm to catch the Blazer game. I call you, then I go back to bed before work. Well, I'll get you official confirmation next time he calls, Ryan. Okay, we got to figure this out. now I'm wondering, am I just making stuff up? Oh, show me your blazer, Jake. Show me your blazer. What do you mean when you found out about Santa? What do you mean? What do you mean? All right, I'm gonna turn my audio off. We'll be right back.
Second night of a back-to-back, you guys have a team that's coming in just as hot, just as between you guys tonight, because it looked like a rock fight for basically 2
It was, too. You know, I thought that it would be that way, you know, us coming in off that overtime game. Physically tired in these situations. You're emotionally tired, too, last night. So I knew they was going to get in the bed probably the same time, get in the bed last night. So there was no advantage there. We guarded the first 8 seconds against them, and we did that probably 75% of the time. That's how it lasted them. You know, that's a really good team. They're tough to play against. You look at, you know, Tumani's performance tonight against Halley, and he didn't even get a chance to shoot enough shots. You know, I thought anytime we can go 4 quarters without giving up a 30-point quarter, it's a pretty special night, you know, especially against an incredible offensive team like this. So, you know, DA, you know, just where our team is at, it's one of the things, and I just told DA this, but him picking up those 4 fouls, went to him at the half, said, you know, you're right, I want to start Rob, you know, so you're not out there playing timid and we're giving up baskets. This is a really, really important part of the game. And, man, he was, man, no problem, coach. Just let's do it. Rob's ready. And that's just amazing. It just lets you know where we are, you know, as a team and where he is as a teammate. So I thought that was a big part. And all of the guards I thought were exceptional tonight. Scoot, Ant, Shaden, all of them were really, really good. Jeremy hit some big baskets for us. So, again, we did it together.
Could you imagine, though, that type of defensive performance against this team that averages 116 a night? Did your team surprise you a little bit?
Well, yeah. I mean, you don't expect for them to not score 90 points. They at least get up 35, 43s. They only got up 24. But quite frankly, they weren't open. We made a ton of extra efforts to try to get them off of the line. And more importantly, before that, we tried our best to keep them out of the paint, which obviously gets you those open three-point shots. We did a pretty good job of that. But the defense has really been humming, man. It really has. But you don't expect to hold a big-time offensive team to 90 points, 89 points. No, you don't expect that.
Coach, last night, obviously, DeAndre had some big rebounds, helped you guys win that game. It seemed like in the fourth quarter, Scoot had those 2 offensive rebounds, got amped that floater. That really seemed like that was almost kind of when you guys were able to pull away at that point.
Yeah, because it was tough the whole way. It really was. And then we come out, and I thought we had a tough start to the fourth quarter, which is why I called that quick timeout. Just try to get us back together, and let us know this game is so far from being over, and it took all the way until, obviously pulled the starters out of the game. I mean, it was leads like this that are 10, 12 points, they go away so fast in the NBA. But the way our defense is humming, when teams are playing against us, at least in particular now, that lead probably feels like a 20-something point lead. It's been tough to score on us.
You ever seen that many lobs in a game? It felt like half of the assists that you guys had were like...
Yeah, I know. It was a lot. I mean, especially at the end, But, yeah, we had a ton of them, and we look for that. We work on that. We feel like we're a pretty athletic team, and we're always trying to find ways to score. So I'm just happy that the guys they're so unselfish that they're actually looking for that.
You've beat the drum of wanting to be the team that other teams hate playing against. Do you feel like you've reached into that? You had DA tonight chirping at Nemhard. You had 2 going at Miles. You had Shaden going at Matherin. It's not just one guy. You've got multiple guys that are getting into it.
I do, and that's been my vision the entire time. Is I want to be that team that nobody wants to play against. Even when you come in and play well and win, you have to fight so hard for that win. You have to go earn that, and that's where I want us to be. At all times, home or on the road. I want teams to earn their keep against us, and we're doing that right now. We've been pretty good at it.
You guys have had huge nights from Denny and/or Ayton most of this stretch. They struggled offensively tonight, but clearly did other things. But what does it say about the rest of the team that sort of filled that void?
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why we've played so well, to be honest with you, Aaron, because you can't just gear up to guard 1 or 2 people on our team. We got so many people going. Now you never know. It's going to be 2 or 3 or 4 guys, that are getting these 17s, 18s, 20. That makes you really difficult to guard. Teams that we play against, and we can't just lock in on 2 or 3 people. That's the reason why this team, the Pacers, are really difficult to guard, because you just never know. That ball is popping and it's moving, and they're moving bodies, they're moving the basketball, and make you very difficult to lock into. And that's kind of how we've played. When we've been able to get stops, and tonight, we go plus 12 on the glass, which is a really, really big thing that we've been trying to key in on. When we can get stops and get rebounds, man, we can get out there and make it difficult for people. So that's kind of the key for us.
Who am I going to give my game ball to tonight? I don't know. Who going to go to? I'm giving it to, drum roll please. I'm giving it to Scoot. I'm giving it to Scoot tonight because the 17 points were nice, right? The 8 rebounds were nice. The 5 assists were nice. The steal was nice. But I thought he made 2 of the most important plays of the game, which was the one the caller talked about, getting the play there in the corner, kicking it back out. Jeremy Grant got it, ended up leading to a bucket. And then the offensive rebound that really, when he threw it back out to Ant resets, comes in, gets the floater, gets the two. Definitely felt like you could feel the wind totally deflate. Like you just felt the Pacers just, oh, no. It felt like a backbreaker. And so two of the biggest plays tonight really felt like they came at the expense there of, not the expense, but at the hands of Scoot Henderson. So shout out, man. Love to see him have a good game. All right, if you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is telephone number, and, of course, youtube.com. River City Radio, that's another place to get in. Let's head out to our callers now. Let's head out to Kieran. Kieran must be extra happy again tonight.
Oh, hey, how's it going? Yes, I am extra happy tonight. Yes. Mm-hmm.
What?
Yes, I'm happy that they got the win tonight. Yes.
What's your takeaway from this one?
What's my takeaway from this one?
Yeah.
Especially going into the fourth quarter too. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were wonderful, weren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Weren't they?
And by the way, I know yesterday was Scoot's birthday. I also want to wish a happy belated birthday to Scoot Henderson. So, well, yes, happy birthday, Scoot.
Well, happy birthday, Scoot, and thanks for the call as always, Kieran. It's always a good day when the Blazers play like that. It's always a good day when you get a win on your birthday. Scoot got a win on his birthday and goes out here and has a game like tonight. Absolutely awesome. All right, let's head out to Sean in Hood River. Sean, welcome into the fifth quarter. The floor is yours. Is it Sean? Shauna, hello? Hood River, you're on line one. Is my elevator music good? I'm trying.
Hey, hold on. We'll get you on there.
Hey, we get it going. We figure it out. Shacker's got lots going on. If you guys could only see here, because we're on radio. I mean, we are on YouTube too, but man, the amount of buttons this guy has to push to get radio on, you would be surprised. It's pretty wild. We're good? All right, we're on in Hood River. How we doing?
Hey, we're doing great, man. I just want to say, shout out, happy birthday, Scoot. It's been an amazing time watching the team build this chemistry, create what they're doing. It's awesome. It's amazing. It's fun to watch. I'm here for it. I'm here for the future. And I want everyone to know, go Blazers. That's about it.
That's it. Go Blazers. You know what? That should be the period to every single Blazer fan sentence. Just like, hey, I really like the game tonight. Go Blazers. Don't you think Scoot should play more? Go Blazers.
Go Blazers.
Go Blazers, man. I appreciate the call. That's awesome. That's awesome. Man, what a game, though. 9 out of 10? Who would have thought? We already said this earlier. I wouldn't have. Right now the Blazers are like the embodiment of what is at the Paul Rudd. Like, who thought we'd be here? Not me. Not me, as we're tearing off the cap to our water bottles. Like that. This is wild. This is why I've been saying just enjoy it. Just ride the wave. Ride the wave. Right now the Blazers look like a competent basketball team, and I like that. And I totally understand because we've had these conversations. My buddy Keith, he got a little heated with me in the text messages the other day. That's okay. He's no one has ever said he's not a passionate dude, right? He's upset that the young guys didn't play yesterday, right? And I wasn't, because I figured they would play big minutes today, and they did. And they came up huge. And I think right now they're playing to win, and I think the young guys do like that right now because they like winning, right? Shaden Sharps even said that in the post-game presser today. Like, the winning feels nice right now. It's something that they haven't experienced. And if they can keep this thing rolling, maybe crazy things happen, right? Now, if they don't, and they start taking a couple of losses, and even down this, they're still going to be a lottery team if that's the case. But I think things are going to play out just fine for them. Just fine for them. All I know is being in the position we've been in, having to host pre- and post-game shows, it's always a lot harder when they're losing. It's always a lot harder when they're losing. When they're winning, things are great. Things are great when they're winning. And right now, it's not so much the win, it's how they're doing it. They are doing incredible, playing so good. And a game like tonight, man, how can you not love Tumani freaking Kamara. Holy smokes, what a gem they got in him. He is so darn fun. Defensively, man, he gives people fits. He was getting into it again tonight, chirping away. I loved him getting at it with Grayson Allen against Phoenix. It was pretty awesome. All right, let's head out to Clackamas, where Jack wants to join in. Jack, welcome into the fifth quarter.
Hey, thank you very much. I know it's the most Portland thing ever just to get super excited too early, but tell me, what are they missing? They got 3 centers. They got height. They have ball handling. They have shooting. They're youthful, so they run like crazy. They don't have one player that dominates the ball. Chelsea's got them running and playing defense. I mean, seriously, they're good.
They are, and thanks for the call, Jack. What they're missing is, I would say, if I'm trading some of my guys, I'm trying to bring some stuff in. I know it sounds dumb. I want more shooting. Okay, ideally, we talk about who's going to move out of here in the long run, and it would seem like Anthony and Jeremy might be the most likely candidates at some point. And if you get them, you're going to have to replace that shooting, and then you're going to need more shooting around it. And then secondarily, what you need is Donovan Clingan to mature very, very fast on the offensive end. I do think that's part of the reason he didn't play as much yesterday as Robert Williams did today. Of course, there's foul trouble too, but offensively, he kind of just bogs the offense down. We talked about it in the pregame show when he got manned up down in the paint against Devin Booker and he couldn't make a basket. Like, he should dominate, and that should be an easy 2, right? So they need that. They're going to need the depth overall. And the reason I say shooting, Jack, is because they have it right now, but they have it in that starting lineup with Ant and Jeremy. Outside of that, they're going to need to get some guys, I think, that they can plug in and give guys like Scoot guys to pass to. And if you can get, obviously, Denny's playing good defense, 2's playing great defense, Aiton's playing better defense. You guys got that. But if you could get another solid defender, sad part is they have one on their bench. He just doesn't play in Matisse Thybulle. And then just a little more shooting, you're right. They got the size finally. They got everything around that they need to do, and now it's just about gelling together and then everyone taking that next step. I think what they truly need is, as we've talked about this, is Shea to really take a jump, because what they do lack right now is they lack that guy that they know is going to go out there and score 25 points per night with consistency. We've seen Denny have good nights. We've seen 2 have good nights. We've seen Aiton have good nights. We've seen Ant have good nights. We've seen Scoot have good nights, right? But we haven't seen, again, the Dame style, right, where it's every single night. 25 points, 26 points, 27 points. You're just hitting that number consistently, right? I think that is what they need in the long run. I think that's what they need. Hans, the Chauncey conversation is going on in the chat. I think, do you keep Chauncey or get rid of Chauncey is a good question. And the reason I say it's a good question is because what I do think, and I've said this before, and no amount of success in this season, they could not lose another game, and I'm still going to hold this to be true. And that is that Joe Cronin needs an opportunity to truly go through that process and hire the guy that he thinks is the one to lead the roster the way he wants. He's building the roster. Now he needs to get the person to sit in the driver's seat of the bus, right? And he needs to really go through that process. Because, again, he's built his roster, and he still has a holdover from Neil O'Shea's era, right? And that's fine. Now, if you go through the process and you talk to Chauncey and you talk to and you think that Chauncey's still the guy and you bring him back, that's fine. That's fine with me. That's fine with me if that's what Joe thinks. I just want Joe to really be able to go through that process. I want to know what kind of coach he truly wants, right? Because maybe it's not what Chauncey brings that he likes, and I do think that Chauncey's probably going to end up being on his way out. That just has always been the vibe, and I don't think 9 out of 10 games changes that. Maybe a run over these last 30 games could, right? But I still really, really want Joe to really get the chance to sign the coach that he thinks can lead the roster that he's built. That's what you got to give the GM. You got to give the GM that ability, right? And so we'll see where that goes. I don't know what the answer is, but right now I don't care. right? And I don't mean that to be rude, chat. I just don't care who the coach is tomorrow or who the coach is to start the season in 2025-26. I don't care that they're losing ping pong balls and the chance at Cooper flag, because right now, all I care about is this 9-game stretch, 10-game stretch has been fun. And I love that. Han says Cronin didn't hire Chauncey. This is his last year. No way he's back. I know he didn't hire Chauncey. That's what I'm saying. He needs to be able to hire his guy. And if Chauncey were to go in and he sits there and he has a wholehearted conversation with Chauncey and he decides to bring him back, that's on Joe. And if that's what Joe truly thinks is best, I want to see it. I want to see Joe grab the guy he thinks. And I just don't know if he's had that chance yet. Because Chauncey's just been, here you are. Do you extend, like, that's all I'm saying. Do you extend him? Do you touch? That's all I'm saying. I don't know who the guy is, right? All I care about, like I said, 9 out of 10, Han, Timmy, Sean, everyone in the chat, all my callers, 9 out of 10, flipping awesome. That's what I care about right now. Makes the show fun, makes the chat fun. It makes staying up later than your eyes want you to. It makes it fun, man. Makes it fun. Things are better when you're winning. And right now I just want to completely ride this thing until the wheels fall off, and we'll have some fun. YouTube, everyone over there, thank you, everyone, for tuning in. But I'm going to have to pause that off. All right, YouTube. Hold on real quick, you guys. You were great. Thank you. I had to pod you down so I could play Freebird for the radio, and we didn't get in trouble, right? We're learning on the fly. I've got some good feedback from Shacker and Chad. I even got a message, not directly to me, but to Chad, and then sent to me from Kevin Calabro, which was pretty darn cool to get some feedback. But I just want to say, give you guys a proper send-off, too. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. Let's see. Sean said, if Joe wants someone else, let Chauncey go now and increase odds. I love the wins, but the future is what we're looking for, not wins now. The only comment on that, Sean, is I just don't know if getting rid of Chauncey now to let Nate be the interim, just to cut hat coach too. I'd rather just continue whatever upward trajectory they're going in right now. Just let it ride. And then back to that point you said, just hit it wholeheartedly. Get into the offseason. And I think that's the better time to do it now. You have a full menu of coaches you want to talk to. And again, I have no idea who it could be, what it will be, or what the future is. I just like where they're at right now. So, but thanks for the comment. I mean, you absolutely make sense. I'm just, 9 out of 10 is pretty awesome. pretty awesome. And then Han says, when's the last time you saw a Blazers team play defense like this? What 2014? When you had Wes and Nico was great and Rolo was decent, right? But you still had holes. Because you obviously had Dame, who wasn't great, and you had, L.A. was good. Rolo was good, but they were like average defenders. Right now, you got Tumani is so good. Oh, sorry, Shacker turned me off. He's trying to get out of here. I'm sorry. But, it's been a while. Han. But you two, I should get out of here. Shacker's worked his tail off. I can't keep him here any longer. I'll be back at it